On this episode of Muscle Car of the Week, we've got another iconic Chevrolet. This is a 1968 Yenko Camaro. So tell me a little bit about what makes a Yenko Camaro a Yenko Camaro. I mean, what did they add to it to build this package?
68, Don Yenko would take he'd order a 396 375 horse Camaro and install a 427 short block, reuse the 396 heads, intake, carburetor, so it saved him a lot of money, and you get the high performance parts that came with a 375 horse car anyway, so it worked out pretty good. And then Yenko convinced Chevrolet to modify these cars at the factory before they shipped them. They put a 140 Speedo in them, a bigger front sway bar, had little unique things on 68s that they didn't do in 69 or 67.
What do you know about that Speedo? Was that made specifically for the Yenko cars?
Yeah, it was part of the 97 37 Copo package, that also called Yenko Sports Car Conversion Package. Regular 68 Camaro would have a 120 Speedo. These had a 140 Speedo. He'd put his own Yenko door tags. They had, I don't know if you can pan in, like in the door jamb there is the Yenko door tag. That's a 68 Yenko Camaro item only. Like that one should say YS8058. This is the last car on the VIN list for the Yenko cars. Yeah, Yenko put the door tags, and they didn't do it in 67, they didn't do it in 69, but that's kind of one of the things that makes 68s my favorite, is those Yenko door tags. Very specific magic mirror trim tags on the firewall too. That's kind of a mystery. We don't know exactly why they did it, but.
And the magic mirror was the acrylic lacquer paint on the outside of the car.
Yeah, it's different than all the other 68 Camaros you see. They've got this weird, odd trim tag on them.
Huh.
Kind of neat.
Well, I think, wasn't the full-size GM cars had the magic mirror tag, but the Camaros didn't? Is that it, or just the colors?
Yeah, the Camaros usually in that where it says magic mirror acrylic lacquer, it used to say conforms to federal standards. And we don't know if it's because maybe it didn't conform to some federal standards or what it was, but.
I also noticed the hood on these is unique to the car, but it also looks really good, like it's more part of the package than some of the other dealer cars where things look like they were just kind of added on.
Fiberglass hood. 67s, you get them with fiberglass hood, you get them with the stock SS hood. 68s, I think they all came with this fiberglass hood. Pretty cool fiberglass hood. The fits that's about as good as it gets,
yeah, for
these kind of cars.
And that's it, no latch.
There's no latch on this one. This has got all the smog on it still. Pretty nicely restored, but this is, gosh, I think it was in the 90s that this car was restored.
It looks awesome.
But the hoods are neat, they're smooth, they're just a slick car. This one, I took the hood springs off because if you leave the hood springs on while it's sitting in storage, it will actually bow the fiberglass hood and you'll end up with a damaged hood. So anybody's got one, take the springs off or put a real weak spring on, but better off taking the springs off.
There were some other shops that were also doing high performance versions. How did the Yenko stack up in the hierarchy?
Oh, it ran right along with the rest of the big guys. I mean, they were all doing 427s, no matter who dialed them in the most. But I mean, this, you could go to your dealership or the network of Yenko authorized dealers and just order a 427 Camaro. You had to do them or Baldwin Motion or Nicky or Dana. This is just, Yenko is one of the more popular ones.
And how many different dealers were there in the network?
Yenko had a group of dealers signed up around the country where if you wanted a Yenko Super Camaro, you could order one through them and Yenko would build it and ship it to them and you'd get delivery of your car. This one was actually sold at Yenko. This has all the original dealership paperwork when it was sold new.
Well, so that's the next question. Now, there are a handful of things that make this car specific, but how do you tell the difference between one that's original or one that somebody put together?
Main thing is see if, well, I own a website called Yenko.net. You could go there, go into the discussion forums, ask around. We've got a VIN list with a list of most of the Yenko cars. So if you think you've found a Yenko car, go to the website, check the list, join up or find somebody and send them a private message or ask in a forum. But if you think you found a car, don't tell everybody where it's at in a forum, because everybody will buy it out from under you if you found it.
No, that's true. That's true. Yeah, because there weren't many made, and they're probably pretty sought after at this point.
They're very sought after cars. There's a lot of clones out there, but when you see a real one and you know some of the history of them, they're pretty neat cars.
Do you have any idea what the name of this color is?
Island teal.
Beautiful color.
Beautiful car.
Now, I think some of these cars are probably museum pieces. Do people use these things in other capacities?
Not near as much as they should. We try to encourage people to drive them. A lot of people modify them, make them more drivable. I had a similar one to this years ago with big tube headers, and it was fast. It was fun to drive. I mean, this is, you know, they go now with stock exhaust manifolds and put the smog back on, but they're really a lot more fun with headers on them. Most guys worry about them, but really, I mean, you could drive it, break it, and still fix it. They've all been, you know, unless you've got a low mile example, it's, or if you spend way too much money and have it restored to where you know, this car sat largely since like 1990 or late 90s without any miles because nobody wanted to.
Well, they didn't want to ruin the restoration.
They didn't want to ruin the restoration, which is kind of a drawback of doing too good of a restoration. Is then you're afraid to drive it. It's like, I kind of like to drive them, but any collectible cars, you're just the keeper for a while, and I hope people keep that in mind, because I mean, we'll be dead and gone, and these kind of cars will still be preserved. Nobody's going to be scrapping them anymore. They'll be saved forever.
So if you want to learn more about Yenkos or the supercar muscle cars in general, you can check out yenko.net, and you can learn a lot there. If you want to see more about this car in particular, check out our website at MuscleCarOfTheWeek.com. And we also have a Facebook page. If you go like the Facebook page, you can guess a little teaser picture to figure out what next week's car is. I'm sure you're going to like it. And of course, if you're watching these on YouTube, subscribe to the channel so you never miss an episode of Muscle Car of the Week.
Is next week's car a good car or bad car?
It's awesome.
Really?
Just wait.
Okay.
I don't know what it is, but it's going to be awesome.